What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again today for another playoff video. I was going to say preview. It's not a preview. Well, technically it is, kind of not. We have my official bracket. Yes, this is going up after I've made all my first round previews. Yes, it's going up after the playoffs have already started, but this is the bracket I have submitted to the NHL site where you do the bracket challenge. Of course, on that site, you do the first round, you say the games you played, so I've already done that. Well, it's all set. But we're going to go through the second round, how I think that's going to go, the third round, as well as the final. My official prediction. I've had a rough go-around when it comes to predictions. And since I've been doing bracket challenges since 2019, since I've had a computer, my own computer on the official NHL website, only once have I gotten a team in the final correct. And that was in 2019, where I predicted the Blues to go to the final. I didn't have them winning it. I had Tampa beating the Blues in 5 in the final. But St. Louis ended up being the team I got right, as my dog decides now is the time that he wants to enter the frame. How are you, Nickel? Pause the video here and we'll be back in just a moment. Sorry about that. My dog just likes to bug me sometimes. But he is the sweetest boy ever. Moving on. So we have all of my first round predictions from my preview videos. All 8 in the first round. We're going to do my second round, my third round, my final. To go through the bracket. As I mentioned before, only have had one correct team in the final ever, and that was 2019 St. Louis, and I didn't even have them winning it. So, a lot at stake here for my seemingly hockey knowledge expertise that I like to claim I have, although when it comes to predictions, not really. So, moving in the first round, we'll go through what we already have. I have Colorado winning in the first round in 4 games. I have Minnesota winning in the second round in 7 games. I have Utah. I'm going to use the Arizona magnet. Boy, if I ever use the Arizona magnet to say that they won in 6 games for Utah. And then I have Edmonton beating Anaheim in 6 games as well. In the East, I have Buffalo in 7. Again, what a year this is. Imagine it was still Arizona. You had Arizona and Buffalo in the second round. Then you have Montreal over Tampa Bay in 7. Carolina over Ottawa in 6. Pittsburgh over Philadelphia in 6. Of course, Pittsburgh's lost game 1 already, and Utah's lost game 1. So those two, I'm a little behind the 8 ball, but there's still time. Moving on to the second round, how do I think this is going to go from here? This is going to be difficult to predict from here. This can go a number of ways. We'll go with the one that I'm most confident in. I'll have Carolina moving on to the next round. Carolina will beat Pittsburgh, and I'm going to say 5 games. So I'm going to sneak under here, and we'll put Carolina in 5. It's a lowercase. I like it all when they're all the same. So as my marker decides now is a good time. There we go. Carolina in 5. Buffalo, Montreal. It's another one I'm pretty confident about. Montreal, I'm going to say, takes down Buffalo in 6 games. So we're going to have an Eastern Conference final of Carolina and Montreal. Very exciting Montreal team coming up. In the West, this is where it gets difficult. I have my Stanley Cup final already picked. So what's difficult is picking how many games it is, not so much who I think is going to win. Because for my Stanley Cup pick, I'll give you a hint. It revolves around the Minnesota Wild moving on to the Western Conference final. And how many games? So let me put this down here. We'll say Minnesota. We'll say in We'll say Minnesota in 6 games as well. I think it can go 6 games. And then Utah, Edmonton. That's the most difficult series for me to predict. I don't know which way to go with it. And I'll say Edmonton, and I'm going to say Edmonton in... I'll say Edmonton in 7. I just have a feeling this Utah team is going to be pesky and annoying to get out, and so that's going to be my final 4 right there. What a time to be alive. We're seeing this Minnesota in the conference final, Montreal back in the conference final, Edmonton in 4 of the last 5 conference finals. Yeah. Third round, Minnesota and Edmonton. Is Edmonton going to go to 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals? I could definitely see it. Here's the thing. Edmonton going to 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals is not crazy. McDavid winning a Stanley Cup is not crazy. It's almost part of the storyline at this point that it has to happen at some point. But if I'm going off just my gut, and my gut's telling me that I'm going to take the Minnesota Wild to go to the Stanley Cup Final. Yes. I never thought I'd say that myself. But I'm going to take Minnesota in 6 games. I'll take Minnesota in 6 in the conference final. And Carolina-Montreal. Montreal's a very young and exciting team. Carolina's a very complete team. Montreal, they're still getting their experience going. I'm going to take Carolina to go to the final. Carolina's finally going to make it to the Stanley Cup final after years of conference finals and coming up short, 8th straight year in the playoffs. I'm going to say Carolina wins this series in 6 games as well. A lot of 6-game series this year. I've tended to do a couple 5 games in the past. So Minnesota and Carolina in the final. Who do I have taking home the Stanley Cup? I never thought I'd say the day when I see this. And considering I work for the Chicago Wolves, who's an affiliate of the Carolina Hurricanes, that has nothing to do with this, by the way. The Wolves and Hurricanes, they're very, it's not like the Hawks and Rockford where they're very intertwined. The Wolves and Carolina kind of do their own thing, and they just send players up and down, and that's really it. But the Minnesota Wild, I have winning the Stanley Cup in 2026. I can hear the outcry. I can hear the screams of "you're wrong." Believe me, part of me thinks a lot of me also thinks I'm wrong. But Minnesota I feel like it's going to be on home ice if they do win it. And Carolina would have home ice. I'm going to say Minnesota in 6 games. They'll do it at home in front of a crazy Minnesota crowd. Kirill Kaprizov will be forever venerated as the hero of the Minnesota Wild. Jared Spurgeon will lift the cup. He'll hand it to Nick Foligno first, who'll hand it to his brother Marcus Foligno, and then the train will keep going. As the reason I picked Minnesota, the feeling I got was Minnesota this year. It all relies on the back of Quinn Hughes. Minnesota has always had good teams. They haven't won around since 2015. They've been to the playoffs 8 out of 10 seasons since then. They've had a superstar forward. They've had Gaborik. They've had good forwards like Brunette and Koivu, but never that real. They've had Eric Stahl and Zach Parise, and great defensemen like Ryan Suter, and even like if you look at their team now, it's probably the most complete team I think they've ever had. And when you look at it, you have Kaprizov, Boldy, Hartman, Zuccarello. Missing a key one here. It's not coming to my mind. Eriksson Ek. You have those 5 up front, I think, are key. That's your star power right there. You have the depth. You have a young guy in Urov coming up. You have the Foligno brothers, that grit you need in the playoffs. You have depth such as Nico Sturm ready to play. On defensive side, the defense is the biggest change from any previous year. You have that superstar defenseman that you've never had. You have Quinn Hughes, along with Brodin, Spurgeon, Middleton, and I know you have some Jeff Petrie depth there. It's another guy who might get his first Stanley Cup if Minnesota wins it all. And then the goaltending, you have this young up-and-coming story in Jesper Wallstedt. And Minnesota's already beaten Dallas in Game 1, 6-1, and that made me feel even more confident in this pick. Am I rooting for Minnesota as an entirely? No, I'm not a Minnesota fan, never have been. Am I rooting for them? No, I just have this feeling that this is their year. Now, that could take that with a grain of salt because I've said that about several teams, and not one have I gotten right. Edmonton in 23, Vegas in 21, Colorado in 2020, Tampa in 2019, Tampa in 2025. Who did I pick in 2024? I think I picked Dallas. I picked Dallas in 2024. So, and then in 2022, I picked Calgary over Florida, I'm pretty sure. So, as you can see, I'm not the greatest predictor, but this is my bracket for this year. Let me know down below what you think is going to happen. Again, I think Dallas and Carolina are the most complete teams this year, but it's not always about the most complete teams that win. It's about the teams that are there in the clutch moments. It's about teams that really come together, play that gritty playoff style of hockey, that they overwhelm their opponents, and they also get the breaks. A lot of big issues I have in playoffs is, I know I've kind of contradicted myself here, but playoff experience and certain aspects where playoffs are different than the regular season. In the end, a hockey game is a hockey game. You either win it or you lose it. You put it all out there in a chance to win it. That's how I think it's going to be this year. I think Minnesota is going to be desperate. I think this is their time that they know that they have to win it within these next 1 to 2 years. And they want to get Quinn Hughes locked up this summer, preferably. Winning a Stanley Cup automatically guarantees you Quinn Hughes will be here for a very long time to come. Anyway, guys, let me know down below what you think in the comments. Do I think some of these series can go the other way? Vegas, Utah, Dallas, Minnesota even, Buffalo, Boston, Tampa, Montreal. Those are the series I think could really go the other way. Pittsburgh, even though they lost game 1, I'm still confident. I really can't see Ottawa winning. I really can't see Anaheim winning, and I definitely cannot see LA winning. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. Give me your predictions down below, who you think is going to win, and what series do you think have I judged horribly wrong? Which is the one that you think is just insane and I should be burned at the stake for? I'm just kidding. Please don't wish that upon me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I shall see you all in the next one. Have a good one.